Hi everyone, welcome to English Tea, and today you will be looking at 55 idioms, similes, and metaphors. There's going to be 20 idioms, 20 similes, and 15 metaphors. And you can try these out when you are talking to people. First, we are going to look at similes. So what is a simile anyway? A simile is a comparison between two things using the words like or as. Say for example, grumpy as a bear. That means very grumpy. And an example with that simile is, he is as grumpy as a bear in the mornings. The second simile is, as fluffy as a cotton ball. That means super soft or fluffy. An example is, the dog is as fluffy as a cotton ball. The third one is as playful as a kitten. It means very playful / entertaining. An example is, the Joker was as playful as a kitten. The fourth one is busy as a bee. It means always busy / on the move or active. An example is, the gardeners at the nursery are as busy as bees. That means the gardeners are really busy or on the move. The fifth one is cool as a cucumber. It means always cool or casual. An example with the simile is, even when the fire struck, Ivan was as cool as a cucumber. The sixth one is as cold as ice. It means freezing cold. An example is, this winter is as cold as ice. The seventh one is as boring as watching paint dry. It means extremely boring because if you were sitting and watching paint dry, that would be really, really boring. An example is, the news was as boring as watching paint dry. The eighth one is smell like a rose. It means to smell good. An example is, my mother's perfume smelled like a rose. The ninth one is as silent as the grave. It means very silent and quiet. An example is, after the show stopped, the crowd was as silent as the grave. The 10th one is as sour as vinegar. That means extremely sour. An example is, the limeade was as sour as vinegar. It means the limeade was super sour. The 11th one is as clear as mud. It means very hard to understand. An example is, the 50-page manual to assemble the toy car was as clear as mud. That means the manual was very hard to understand. The 12th one is as cheap as dirt, meaning on a very low price. An example is, when I wait until Black Friday, I can get my favorite toy as cheap as dirt. The 13th one is shine like the stars, meaning shone very brightly. An example is, the sparkling lake at the park sparkled in the sunlight and shined like the stars. The 14th one is sweet like sugar, and it means very kind. An example is, my grandma is as sweet as sugar. The 15th one is as tough as nails. It means strong and determined. An example is, she is a very kind person, but when she works, she is as tough as nails. The 16th one is slept like a baby. It means slept well. An example is, I slept like a baby last night after I read a story. The 17th one is work like a dog. It means work hard. An example is, I worked like a dog yesterday. I did all the chores, did a lot of homework, and 2 hours of exercise. The 18th one is as easy as pie. There's also an idiom just like this. It's called a piece of cake. and that also means the same. They both mean very easy. An example is the test was as easy as pie. The 19th one is as stiff as a board. It means rigid or very stiff. An example is after 2.5 hours of playing video games, I am as stiff as a board. The 20th simile, it's the last simile, have eyes like a hawk, and it means to have good eyesight. An example is after I finished buying my glasses, the doctor said to have eyes like a hawk. Now let's move on to metaphors. A metaphor is a comparison between two things not using words like or as. A metaphor is just like a simile, but it does not use the words like or as. The first metaphor is tears were a river flowing down her cheeks, and that means a lot of tears. An example is the baby's tears were a river flowing down her cheeks. That means the baby must have cried a lot. The second one was a zoo. It means to misbehave. An example is the party was a zoo during tag. That means they must have pushed each other, shoved each other. The third one is mighty lion. It means big, powerful, and/or strong. An example is the king is a mighty lion during the war. The fourth one is a really good one, sunshine. It means something that makes you feel happy or joyful. An example is seeing the baby smile was the mom's sunshine after a busy day. The fifth one is white blanket. It means snow spread across the ground like a white blanket. An example is during the last winter storm, the city was buried in a white blanket. The sixth one is the key. It means get something or to lead to something. And that means and an example is hard work is the key to success because hard work leads to success. That's why you guys need to work hard. The seventh one is walking encyclopedia. It means very smart about lots of things. An example is there are a few friends in my school who think they are walking encyclopedias. The eighth one is time is money, meaning time is the key to money. An example is we should make the best use of time because time is money. The ninth one is computer brain. It means super good at calculating. An example is Scarlett's brain was a computer when she got 50 equations correct in 30 seconds. Her brain sure is a computer brain. The 10th one is a disaster. It means a big mess. An example is the city was a disaster after the hurricane. The 11th one is clouded, meaning confused. The milestones made Jessie clouded. That means the milestones must have had some confusing questions that made Jessie confused. The 12th one is the wind screamed, meaning the wind blows loudly toward your face when moving. You push toward the wind and the wind pushes toward you, which makes a screaming sound. An example is the wind screamed when opening the window in the car. The 13th one was a cheetah. It means extremely fast. Katie was a cheetah when she was just about to get tagged. The 14th one is life is a maze, meaning life has surprises at every moment. Life is a maze, so look out for the future. The 15th one, the last metaphor was a night owl. It means to be awake for a long time, usually to study. An example is Stephen was a night owl when he needed to study 153 chapters for the ELA test. That's a lot of chapters. Now let's move on to idioms. It's the last type of figurative language we're going to look at today. An idiom is a type of figurative language that can't be understood when taken literally. And example number 1 is, it's raining cats and dogs. It means it rained very heavily. An example is, my outdoor birthday party was cancelled after it rained cats and dogs. Sorry for the birthday person. The second one is break a leg. Don't worry, it's figurative language, so it doesn't mean break an actual leg. It actually means to wish good luck. An example is, break a leg on your soccer match. That means you're saying good luck on your soccer match. The third one is spilled the beans. It means to break a secret. An example is, Rose spilled the beans on where Jack was hiding. That means Rose told the secret on where Jack was hiding. The fourth one is driving me up the wall. The fourth one isn't actually driving me up the wall, but it is driving me up the wall. So the meaning is to be crazy or to annoy someone. An example is, John was driving me up the wall when he kept screaming in my ear. The fifth one is, take it with a pinch of salt. Meaning, don't take things too seriously, to make things your way. An example is, write the homework answers with a pinch of salt. Write it in your own words. The sixth one is, you can say that again. When you say that to a person, you tell a person what they are saying is true. An example is, when Jessie says it's really raining cats and dogs today, Johnny says you can say that again. That means Jessie is really saying that it's raining cats and dogs and that it's true. The seventh one is hit the sack. It means to go asleep. An example is, honey, it's time to hit the sack. It's bedtime. Number 8 is beating around the bush. It means to try not to tell something. An example is, quit beating around the bush and just tell us you lost the fidget spinner. That means the person was trying to avoid saying that he lost the fidget spinner, but in this example, the person is just saying, quit beating around the bush and tell us you lost the fidget spinner. The ninth one is as right as rain. It means to be perfect. An example is, the cupcake we baked was as right as rain. It wasn't too sweet, sour, soft, nor too creamy. The 10th one is missed the boat. It means too late. An example is, you missed the boat. The cake is already finished. That's too bad. The 11th one is, I love you to the moon and back. I really like this one because it means to love someone a lot. An example is, I love you to the moon and back, my mom said. The 12th one is piece of cake. And this is the idiom I was saying earlier about the simile, and that also means super easy. An example is, the exam was a piece of cake. I got 100%. Yay, congratulations. The 13th one is, I bought a lemon. This one means you bought something useless or bad. An example is, the remote control car looked awesome. Yeah, it was broken and I figured I had bought a lemon. The 14th one is, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Don't worry, it's not literal language and it actually means to multitask. An example is, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone when I solved math equations while I read a book. The 15th one is hit the road. It means to go outside, mostly used when traveling somewhere. An example is, time to hit the road, we're going on summer vacation. The 16th one is hit the books, meaning to study. An example is, time to hit the books, dear. You have a... Oops, that's a typo. It's supposed to be you have a test tomorrow, my dad said. The 17th one is also one of my favorites. It's cloud 9. It means so excited and / or happy. And an example is, I was on cloud 9 when I got first place at the race. The 18th one is head in the clouds. It means to get distracted and not focused about the present moment. An example is, get your head out of the clouds and get into the game. The next to last one is one of my least favorite ones, under the weather, but it's useful when you're saying that you're sick. It means not feeling well or sick. An example is, I feel under the weather, so I won't be able to come to school today. The last one is hot potato. It's not the hot potato, who has the hot potato? It's not that hot potato, but it means dangerous. An example is, don't go too close to the fire, it's a hot potato. We're done with all our similes, metaphors, and idioms, and I hope you enjoyed these just as much as I did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon below to get notified for some more engaging videos. Bye!